Vote counting is underway in Iran after the nation's early presidential elections officially closed at 24 hours local time Friday. In Venezuela, a delegation of Chinese diplomats held talks with President Nicolás Maduro and the foreign minister at the Miraflores Palace. And the government of Bolivia announces 21 new arrests of military personnel involved in the attempted coup against President Luis Arce. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Vote counting is underway in Iran after the nation's early presidential elections officially closed on Friday at noon local time and after voting hours were extended 3 times due to the high turnout. Iran's Elections Committee announced that voting continued in centers where there were still citizens waiting to exercise the right to vote. More than 61 million Iranians were registered to choose their president for the next 4 years. The winning candidate must obtain an absolute majority to win the presidency. If no candidate obtains half plus 1 of the votes, a second round will be held with the 2 candidates with the highest number of votes. Iranian voters residing in Lebanon exercised their right to vote during the presidential elections 2024. The Iranian embassy in Beirut opened its doors to the Iranian voters to elect the new president of the Islamic nation after the death of President Ebrahim Raisi last May 19th. The Iranian ambassador Mashtaba Amani cast his vote in the institutional headquarters while ratifying the importance of these presidential elections. Additionally, he indicated that the efforts of the Iranian nation in the Gaza Strip will continue until putting an end to the genocide of the Israeli Zionist entity.
The new Iranian president, God willing, will follow the path of the martyred president, Ebrahim Raisi, and the martyred foreign minister, Hossein Amir Abdollahian, in supporting the resistance. The Iranian efforts, political and on the ground, will continue to put an end to the brutal attack of the Zionist entity against Gaza.
We're going to learn more about the 4 presidential candidates running for the top government position at the Islamic Republic of Iran. To start, let's review some highlights of Saeed Jalili's political career. Jalili officially started his diplomatic and political career in 1989 at the Iranian Foreign Ministry. In 2001, he was Director of Policy Planning for the leader of the Islamic Revolution, Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei. Between 2007 and 2015, he served as Secretary of the Iranian Supreme Security Council. During 2015, he opposed to the nuclear deal with 6 world powers. In addition, Jalili was a presidential candidate in 2021, but withdrew in favor of Ebrahim Raisi, who was the Iranian president until his death on May 19, 2024. Let's see more about the political career of Mohammad Bakr Kalibaf, one of the country's leading political figures. He was announced as one of the 6 candidates after evaluation and approval by the Constitutional Council of Iran. A founder of the Islamic Students Association, Kalibaf's political career includes his election as mayor of Tehran in 2005 for a 12-year term. He has also served as Speaker of the Iranian Parliament since 2020, getting re-elected for the position a few weeks ago. The president polls are not politicians first, as he also ran for the position in the 2005 presidential elections and then again was a candidate in 2013 but lost to Hassan Rouhani. In 2017, Kalibaf announced his run for a 3rd time but withdrew in favor of the late Ebrahim Raisi's candidacy. With this background and on the last day of registration, the politician submitted his candidacy for the current elections. We continue with Masoud Pezeshkian. Born in 1954, he has a PhD in medicine and general surgery from Tabriz University. He was appointed health minister from 2001 to 2005 during former President Khatami's term. From 2016 to 2020, he served as first Deputy Speaker of Parliament. He has previously run for the elections in 2013 and 2021. In 2013, he resigned in favor of Ayatollah Ali Akbar Hashemi Rafsanjani, while in 2021, the Guardian Council didn't pass him as candidate. Finally, let's review the profile of candidate Mustafa Pour Mohammadi. He started in the Islamic Revolution when he was 20 years old, ascending to the position of prosecutor of the Court of the Revolution of Masjid Soleiman, position that he held until 1985. He served as Minister of Intelligence and later between 2013 and 2017 as Minister of Justice. He is currently a member and political secretary of the Society of the Fighting Clergy, an organization of the Ozalaran Current, the conservative wing of the Iranian political system. The United Nations organization warned again about the high risk of famine that threatens the entire population in the Gaza Strip due to the Israeli attacks. The Office for Food and Agriculture warned about the seriousness of the humanitarian crisis in the territory of the Gaza Strip. According to the most recent report, more than a quarter of the Palestinian population in the region is facing a situation of catastrophe and food insecurity due to the destruction of infrastructure and land for livestock farming. The United Nations estimates that the crisis will continue to escalate as long as the Israeli incursions and bombardments continue to prevent the entry of humanitarian aid. In this sense, the Office for Women's Affairs of the United Nations alerted that there are 557,000 women in Gaza suffering from food insecurity. A study in the area has determined that many mothers and adult women give priority to feeding other people, such as children, the elderly, or pregnant women. Many skip meals or reduce them, especially to ensure their children's intake. In this context, more than 80% of the women in Gaza currently depend on food aid. The Nicaraguan government condemned the arrest warrant issued by a French court against Syrian President Bashar al-Assad for his alleged complicity in war crimes during the country's civil war. In an official communique issued on Friday, the Nicaraguan government called the arrest warrant a further demonstration of the harmful pretensions of dominance continuity by the colonial and neo-colonial powers in the world. The statement also urged to respect the sovereignty and independence of countries and peoples and rejected all forms of interference which represents a prolongation of colonial, neo-colonial and imperialist wars. It finally expressed its fraternal solidarity with President Bashar al-Assad, his family and the Syrian people. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and more. All the stories coming up, stay with us. Welcome back. In Venezuela, a delegation of Chinese diplomats held talks with President Nicolás Maduro and the foreign minister at the Miraflores Palace. The Chinese delegation includes the ambassador of the Asian nation to Venezuela, Lan Hu, and the attaché Xion Qiang. The head of state pointed out that diplomatic relations between both countries are increasingly strengthening in brotherhood and fraternity. It is a sincere alliance for the construction of a new world of peace and more human. The Venezuelan-China High-Level Mixed Commission functions as a mechanism for political dialogue and bilateral cooperation, allowing oil and energy agreements up to the aerospace field. In this regard, President Maduro received a high-level delegation from the People's Republic of China, headed by the Special Representative of the Government of the Asian Nation for Latin American Affairs, Qiu Xiangqi. The event was also attended by the Executive Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, the Foreign Minister Ivan Gil, and the First Combatant Cilia Flores. Later on, they participated in a political cultural act to remember the event. Caracas and Beijing have a strategic and unbreakable partnership since 2023 by President Nicolás Maduro and his counterpart Xi Jinping. It is the second highest level granted by Beijing to its comprehensive ties with other countries. Also in Venezuela, the head of state, Venezuela Nuestra campaign command, Jorge Rodriguez, accused the Argentine embassy in Caracas of hatching a plan to boycott the presidential elections of July 28th. During a press conference held on Friday, Rodriguez said he had evidence supporting these accusations and that he will make them available to the international observers accredited to the presidential elections in July. The Venezuelan deputy pointed out that the representatives of the Argentinian government were the same that were involved in the terrorist actions to destroy the Angostura Bridge that links the state of Bolívar and Anzoátegui.
All those groups of motorized vehicles that are going to generate violence on July the 28th, and that of course are going to be neutralized not only by the state but also by the forces of peace, which means that millions of Venezuelans will go out to vote for peace, for stability, for life, and for future, are being organized and coordinated from the Embassy of the Argentine Republic, violating all the norms and the principles of non-interference in the affairs of the host state. It is an aberration that acts of violence be planned from an embassy. I have no doubt that the Venezuelan Foreign Ministry has already taken action on the matter and is communicating with the diplomatic representatives of the Argentine Republic.
The government of Bolivia announces 21 new arrests of military personnel involved in the attempted coup against President Luis Arce. The Minister of Government Eduardo del Castillo informed during a press conference the arrest of General Marcelo Segarra, former chief of the Air Force, and other members of the armed forces involved in the failed coup attempt on Wednesday against the president. At the same time, the executive pointed out that those arrested are responsible for the siege of the presidential headquarters with troops and tanks. In this context, telesur correspondent in La Paz, Freddy Morales, informed in his X account that the Bolivian justice ordered 6 months of preventive detention in Chonchocoro prison for 3 military commanders: Juan José Zúñiga, former Army commander, Juan Arnés, former Navy commander, and Edisol Irajola, mechanized division of Yasha, for attempted coup d'etat. We stay in Bolivia. In an interview with telesur following the failed coup attempt, the Bolivian Minister of the Presidency, María Elena Prada, highlighted the significant role played by the committed media to let the world know about the coup attempt.
The people's conscience about the defense of what has caused us blood, pain, and mourning to recover, which is our democracy, and something that was also fundamental was the statements made by friendly presidents. Fraternal presidents, social organization of our region and the world, the media commitment to the people, to their struggles, to truth, made the events known around the world. And an immediate condemnation of what was happening in our country, and the solidarity with the people in situations like this. Without any doubt, it all made a difference.
In another part of an interview, Minister Prada offered additional details about the involvement of former Army Commander Zúñiga in the coup attempt and the alleged support he had at an international level.
And he invites the police commander to join in. He tells him to join in. The police commander was there. He tells him to join in. And that well at that moment, according to what the police commander and the people who were there say. Zúñiga tells him that they had a lot of support to carry that out. All the time he was talking on the phone with other people, and that is being investigated now. Zúñiga tells him that they had a lot of support to carry that out, not only from here, but he also said that they even had support at the international level, which is also part of the investigations.
In Honduras, President Xiomara Castro, during the ceremony to commemorate 15 years of resistance, strongly condemned the coup d'etat against former President Manuel Zelaya that established the dictatorship in the nation. During her participation in the event, the president thanked the 16 progressive leaders for their support in the activity and emphasized the need to continue the struggle against imperialism through the social revolution. The Honduran president also emphasized that an organized people in resistance is an invisible weapon against any threat or attempted attacks against national sovereignty. She also recalled that on this important day, the sacrifice of martyred men and women who fought in the streets against the coup must be acknowledged.
Today, we commemorate 15 years of the infamous coup d'etat, of the support of hundreds of thousands of men and women who fought in the streets for the return of democracy and the defeat of the coup. We honor the blood of our martyrs.
In addition, the National Executive condemned the imperialist blockade against Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua. It expresses as well its solidarity with its Venezuelan counterpart, Nicolás Maduro, for the presidential elections on July 28th.
I condemn the genocide against the Palestinian people. I condemn the 60 years of blockade to the people of Cuba. The blockade to the brother people of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela and Nicaragua. I thank the message of support from President Nicolás Maduro. Nicolás, you accompanied us in the front line with Commander Chavez to fight against the coup d'etat. Here, we are today victorious, reverting the coup d'etat. Nicolás, the soldiers of Morazán accompany you in the next election. We were sure that you will obtain the triumph and the best results.
We have a final short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience. You can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean, as well as the rest of the world. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. Mongolian Prime Minister Lubsam Namsrain Oyunerdene declared victory in the country's parliamentary elections. After 99% of the votes counted, the preliminary results showed that the governing Mongolian People's Party retained a slim majority in the nation's parliament, with the opposition Democratic Party making a major gain of about 40 seats, which represents a big jump from 2020. On the other hand, Prime Minister Oyunerdene said during a press conference that his governing party had won 68 to 7 seats. The election's official results are expected to be known after all votes are counted manually on Saturday. Let's go to Syria, where the 5th edition of the International Exhibition of Plastics Industry was inaugurated on Thursday in the Damascus Exhibition Center in the country's capital city. During the event, that will last for 4 days, around 50 local and foreign companies will participate, showcasing achievements related to the plastics industry, from machinery, chemicals, raw materials, and technological innovations. In this regard, the Minister of Industry, Abdel Al-Kader Jokadar, highlighted the diversity diversity of the products exhibited, and I stressed that the importance of the fairs as a fundamental platform to show the ability of the Syrian industry to work, produce and compete despite the difficult circumstances that the people are going through. The unique methods implemented by the program to train musicians of the National System of Youth and the children's orchestras and choirs of Venezuela have made it a global success. Let's see for the details.
The National System of Youth and Children's Orchestras and Choirs of Venezuela is a social and cultural program of the Venezuelan state, which has turned into a global reference for its method that combines musical training with collective values that allow the training cycle to be infinite.
It seeks the social reintegration of children and youngsters through music and has created a structure across the country to serve over 1 million children.
This system has further reached countries such as China, where a core of the symphony orchestra operates and with which cultural exchanges are constant. In addition, the Venezuela Symphony Orchestra is a permanent social guest in Beijing and other regions of China, where musicians have been able to exchange experiences in a perfect musical language.
Last year I had the opportunity to be there again with the Simón Bolívar Symphony Orchestra of Venezuela. But this time I went as an assistant conductor. I was not conducting, but I was an assistant conductor. And I could see how the city changed, how the city evolved in some things, and in others it kept its essence. How there is a huge interest in the arts, in being able to continue learning, in that sharing. It was really wonderful. It was also very nice to see many young people at the concerts, both in Beijing and Shanghai, because that speaks very well that the youth is avid for art, avid for music, and wants to keep playing, wants to keep singing, regardless of where we are. The fact of being able to send this message of the program and what we do here daily in Venezuela to any country, especially China, is really amazing.
The lives of those who are part of the program are changed in a positive way, and even those who pass through this school and become professionals in other areas are grateful to have been part of this cultural history that unites the peoples worldwide through the universal language, music.
Something very enticing and something that people don't know about the program is that most of its personnel, most of those almost over 10,000 workers that we have at the national level, were also part of it. They started in a nucleus or in a module, and then today they are either as teachers or they are in different administrative areas. We have, for example, our doctors. Many of our medical service doctors are musicians, also our engineers, the administrators, the directors of the nuclei, the managers in all areas. That is something wonderful, and it is very nice to see how all these people who are at the national level are every day, as Maestro Abreu taught us, playing, singing, and fighting so that we can be better every day.
The National System of Youth and Children's Orchestras and Choirs of Venezuela was founded in 1975 by the Venezuelan maestro and musician José Antonio Abreu, who designed a method to systematize the instruction and collective and individual practice of music through symphony orchestras and choirs as instruments of social organization and humanistic development.
That motivation that comes from participating in a concert, participating in a presentation where you are applauded and your self-esteem is filled, it is something so important for a child, for a young person, and that is what the program has been doing somehow.
This pedagogical, artistic, and social model, which has gained global relevance, is the social responsibility program with the greatest impact in the history of Venezuela.
We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok as well. For Telesur English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.